Oh man, guys, how are you guys feeling about this weekend? Awesome football weekend. Both New York teams coming away with a victory. Welcome to the Jets and Giants show. A jolly show it's going to be, hopefully. I am Gabe, along with Walt and Jose. You guys should know us by now. If you don't know, it's probably because you're not following and it's your first time here. If it is, thank you so much for joining us. Otherwise, please take the time to like, rate, share, and subscribe. We're here to talk all things Jets and Giants, and this is going to be quite the jubilant day, guys. How are you guys feeling now that we're kind of coming close to week 3?
I
It's
got so many.
Victory Monday, Victory
Victory
Friday.
Monday, yeah. When this airs, Victory Monday.
Yeah, Victory Friday for the Jets. I mean, Jose, the Jets are 2-1 and relevant. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been trying to articulate it, but it's so many unfamiliar thoughts and feelings for myself as a 44-year-old Jet fan. Very, very unfamiliar territory. Uh, we'll get to that, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good after that game. Pretty good, and we will talk about it. Yes, we will.
Yeah,
And Giants winning as well, right? So
yeah. I mean,
it's
I haven't been able to stop
undefeated for New York.
smiling. I haven't been able to stop smiling because it's different when you win. Uh, Not dominant, but
Nail
convincingly.
biter.
You know what I mean? Like it did end up being like a bit of a nail biter towards the end, but I think it was kind of like one of those wins where it wasn't like we got lucky, towards the end of the game like we did last year for our first win last season. This felt proper. I'm super excited to talk about the show, especially you all, because we kind of you got a chance to actually be there, which I'm so excited to hear about, like your experience there, being there for the home opener on Aaron Rodgers takes the field, take 2. So excited to hear about that and whatnot. But we are going to get into the Giants first, I believe. Um, one quick thing to note, everyone.
Rush.
Um, one quick thing to note is that we are trying a new platform. We've been having a few issues now for some time with the platform that we use. We're not going to name them right now, but some issues where the platform is giving us some hiccups, kind of causing some delays, maybe giving us a few issues with the quality of the stream. And we are trying to bring you guys the best quality possible. So if you do experience some hiccups with this episode, it's only because we're getting to know the new system and studio that we are in. So we apologize that now. But now that we've gotten that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and talk Giants.
So Giants.
So the Giants come away with their first win of the season against the Browns. We come away 21-15. It was a game in which literally 10 seconds in, I was ready to burn my jersey. I texted Walt. I texted the group. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm burning my jersey. I'm never wearing Giants jersey. It was obviously an overreaction. But when you start the game and the first thing you see is a fumble on the kickoff, followed by a touchdown pass immediately after, you just believe that the game and the season and the team and everything that you believe in is doomed. How could you not? And that's how I felt. But thankfully, the Giants kind of came back, very early on. I like the resilience that they showed to get themselves back in the game immediately. Not quarter 3, not the fourth quarter, not the second half. Immediately, they got their heads back in the game, and that's my biggest takeaway of the game is that they are continuing to show resilience. Guys, did you guys get a chance to watch the game, or are you guys kind of just on the highlights? I wasn't exactly sure if you guys had a chance to see it.
So I watched the condensed game, which is basically the full game. You know what I mean? Just without commercials and all the extra nonsense. I got to see every play. I got to see every down. I got to see every pass. And resilience is a good word. The team showed a lot of resilience after getting down early, and special teams has just consistently letting this team down. And it's a problem. We'll talk about it. But they showed resilience after getting down really early, 2 plays. Deshaun Watson trying to show off the arm early and announce to the world that he was back, but it didn't really end up that way for him. And resilience in holding off the Browns in spite of whatever mistakes they were making, because they were definitely doing their best to try to hand the game to the Giants at some points as well. But still resilience in holding them off. But they left a couple of points on the board there and that was a little bit disappointing. Still, they came away with a W. They beat a tough team, and you can't help but be excited after a W,
Right.
especially an exciting W.
Walt, did you get a chance to actually see the game, or you saw the condensed version? What's your story with the Giants game?
So I was in and out of the game. So I actually
Okay.
saw I was watching it live, but there were some moments that I got pulled away from it, and there were some moments that I was actually fully engrossed in the game. So I want to say I probably saw maybe about 70% of the game.
Okay.
The takeaway that I had was, again, kind of like what you guys were mimicking here. You know what I'm saying? This was a team that could have easily just turtled up and just called it a day, especially after those 11 seconds, because it felt like it was going to be one of those kind of days. You know what I'm saying? And then it wasn't. And so I got to give the Giants as a whole a lot of credit for just coming back and doing that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And getting back into the game, like you said, immediately and then building off of it. They were slightly disappointing in the second half because it felt like they were not trying to give the game away, but there was definitely moments where the Browns, if their offense was anything like an actual offense, that they probably could have come back into this game and taken over and stuff like that. But it didn't happen. And again, you got to give credit to the defense that they did not allow the Browns to come in and kind of steal that game away from the Giants.
Yeah, the way that I look at it, that second half, the Browns, I think, did a really great job of adjusting. In the second half, they made some changes on their coverage of Malik Neighbors, which ended up being really impactful because now the Giants' offense had to pivot, along with the the one thing that I didn't necessarily like that was very, very clear in the second half is that Dable immediately out of the second half went right into a clock management game. With such a big lead, he went right into run as much as possible to make
Yeah.
sure the clock is ticking. And I don't necessarily, it's not that that's the wrong move, but it's kind of telegraphed. When you come out the gate with 3, 4 run plays in a row, and then every drive is now, it's like run, pass, you're telegraphing that you're just trying to end the clock. So this is kind of an example of playing not to lose versus trying to win the game, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you're trying to win the game, you're trying to score more, right? If you're trying to just get to the end of the game and keep that lead, you're trying to run it. So that's how I saw the second half, and it was kind of like Dable's decision to run versus the Browns' defensive changes that really kind of put Neighbors on lock, putting a lot more stress on the offense.
Right.
But I want to ask you guys, we are going to get to the defense and definitely the special teams. Special teams is a huge problem, but we're going to get to the issues of the Giants in a little bit. Being that we came away with a win, I want to talk about the good before we talk about the bad. That being said, the offense. What were your takeaways with the offense? What were your takeaways with the play calling, Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones is always going to be the topic. He is what's under the microscope this entire season, regardless of outcomes and situations. What are your thoughts on Daniel Jones's play and the offense overall?
I'll let you start, Jose, because you had a very interesting take on Daniel Jones here. So
Yes, he did.
So it was a good game by Daniel Jones, but I was again disappointed because this is a game that he looked comfortable at, like, for most of the game, which was really, really, really encouraging. He was very accurate with a good number of his passes. The issue that I had is that there were some throws where, like, they could have really put their foot on the throats of this team and made a statement, like some throws to the flats, to the tight ends, even those throws that Neighbor caught to end the first half to grab the touchdown. Neighbors had to make some acrobatic ass catch to grab those. Another wide receiver's not getting that. And it's a blessing that you have Neighbors there. But as sharp as Daniel Jones looked, it was kind of like also, yes, a second half problem, and it was a play calling problem to a certain extent. But a lot of this also showed up in the first quarter because the first quarter wasn't particularly strong either. It was almost like there was one fantastic quarter from Daniel Jones in the offense. Truly fantastic. Like kind of shows you what the offense maybe could do if they could get it running on all cylinders. And then like that's all I can say. I shrugged my shoulders at the offense the rest of the game. Was really nothing to write home about. And they like I said, they should have put their foot on the throats of this team and really run away with it. So it was a good showing from the offense. But I don't want to overreact and say that it was great or like Daniel Jones is back or like say that anything really great came of this because it could have been great and it was just okay.
See, that's I kind of have I take a little bit of issue with that, because again, the second half, if we're talking about just the first half, again, the second half did not look pretty, and I think that that was again a coach's matchup that ended up kind of deciding how the second half ended up coming about. But with the first half, if I'm not mistaken, Daniel Jones was 12 of 13
Yes.
for the half. So
Yep.
if we're talking about like just one quarter, where did that 12 to 13 come from? Those three touchdowns that, two from Daniel Jones in passes and stuff. And, yeah, Malik Neighbors had to kind of make some acrobatic throws, but that's why we got him, right? That's the whole point we got him. That's the reason Vikings got Justin Jefferson, is because Jefferson can do only he can do the things that Jefferson can do, and so on and so forth. Like, you have these playmakers for a reason, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, nobody else can do it but that guy. But it's not like, you know, Malik Neighbors, as an example, is the only reason that it happened. And
No.
I kind of point to the fact that he successfully targeted seven receivers, with Wanda Robinson having almost as many touches and yards as Malik Neighbors. Had no touchdowns, of course, but he still had like the same amount of touches. So is it Neighbors, or is it just kind of the play call? Well, what did
So
Let,
you?
let
Yeah.
me I was just gonna say, let me put it this way. I don't want to make it sound as bad as it is. I give him like a B minus. I don't give him a B plus or an A. I think it was still a good performance, but like I don't want to make it sound like doom and gloom. I don't think it was great. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Walt. Go ahead.
well, I kind of I have a hard time quantifying how Daniel Jones did because Daniel Jones, was he better than the last couple of games? Absolutely, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? He was leaps and bounds better. And the thing about when we're talking about Malik Neighbors and the overthrows and stuff like that, well, in the post game, afterwards, Malik Neighbors literally put out there and said, you know what? I told Daniel Jones, throw it up, either I get it or nobody gets it. You know what I'm saying? So those throws that may have looked like they were overthrown, it feels like from what they were saying after the game, these were planned things where it's like, I'm going to throw the ball up to you in a place where you can only get it. If it doesn't happen, then you know what? It falls down and it becomes
Right.
incomplete. But you're not looking at a situation where it's all or nothing Daniel Jones wasn't putting the balls in places where the balls were going to get intercepted, which has been a problem in the past for him. Turnovers is a big thing for him and stuff like that. Um,
If he
the
if he was
thing,
overextending it, that's one thing. But like there was one throw where he, like in the second quarter, I
no,
think,
no,
where
no,
he
I'm
backed
not
up into the end zone and threw into double coverage, and we
right.
kind of got away
I'm
with
not
that
saying he
interception.
played a perfect game.
It
I'm not
wasn't
saying
just
that he
throws to
played a
neighbors,
perfect game. You know what
But
I'm
yeah,
saying? The one thing I will say about Neighbors, and it seems like there is a little bit of an over reliance, especially at the start of the season, with Neighbors. And while Neighbors, like Gabe said, is a special talent. You throw the ball to the Justin Jeffersons of the world, you throw the ball to the Jamar Chases of the world. But it's also interesting to see that Next Gen Stats has Malik Neighbors as the. Well, let me see exactly what it says. is the only receiver in the NFL to
Yeah.
account for over half of the team's yards this season. So he accounts for almost 60% of their yards. That's a lot of over reliance on one guy. And again, like I said, when you have a star of his caliber, you throw that ball. But eventually, what's going to happen is that defenses are going to roll over to his side. And now we're going to see whether the Wandell Robinsons of the world, whether the Darius Slaytons of the world, those guys are going to be able to pick up that slack.
Right. So
And
that's where I need to control, because that's exactly the segue that I wanted. Because that's why I go directly to the stats of this game. Yeah, there is an over reliance, and if you look at the whole season, considering first and second game, there was a huge reliance on neighbors. And the question out of
absolutely,
last week was, how long is this going to last? Well, if you look at this game, Wanda Robinson had one less reception than neighbors, and and the difference in yardage was not that much. Neighbors had 8 receptions, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns, but Robinson has 7 receptions, 61 yards, and then followed by Singletary who had 4 receptions for 43. So, and those are just like the top three earners, you could say, out of the receiving room and stuff. But I think that's where, again, week by week they are improving. They're plugging certain holes. One of the biggest holes last week was not spreading the wealth. This week they show that they can spread the wealth, and I think that the reason we got these stats was primarily because they shifted in the second half and started locking down neighbors. So he had to target his second, third, and fourth options. I do have a question for you guys. Is do you think that the I mean, obviously we know that the Giants, everyone on the Giants, the offense, Dable, DJ, and I think neighbors as well can qualify for this. Is it because they're just under such a microscope that we are kind of maybe looking at certain details and blinding us from some of these other things, or is this something else? Is it really that different? Like, for example, just throw it out there: DJ's performance in the last 2 games versus Aaron Rodgers' performance in the last 2 games. Where exactly? What's the reason that we are kind of so beaded in on the stats and the performances, quarter by quarter, half per half, and so on and so forth.
Well, um, see, I think the like you kind of named the problem. You set up the problem yourself. Once they started keying in on neighbors in the second half, I think he had 4 completions in the second half. So he didn't do a damn thing in the second half. Once they started keying in on neighbors, wasn't no spreading the wealth around anymore. Once they started getting high safeties down on neighbors, that's the problem. And Walt kind of named it. Like when other teams take away his best option, what is Daniel Jones going to do? We haven't
I got
seen
to
him
stop you
do
real
that
quick
yet.
because, again, I just pointed out all the stats. We had Wanda Robinson have almost as many receptions and yards
That
as.
was in the first half, though. That was in the first half. Like I said, he had 4 completions in the second half.
we'd, ha-
That was
we'd
all in
have
the
to see
first
how many
half when they were
targets.
not keying in on
Yeah.
when the defense, when the Browns decided finally, hey, this kid's an elite receiver, we got to key in on him. I don't think the Browns had enough respect for him in the plan in the first half. And so, yeah, you're going to run wild with your best wide receiver. Defenses are going to be all over the place trying to figure things out. The first half, again, really solid, but in the second half, when the adjustments were made, nothing happened for that offense,
Right,
and
but
nothing
that
happened
means
for
that
Daniel Jones.
that means that there was an over reliance on neighbors in the first half. Then, if everything happened in the first half.
Well,
To a certain extent, yeah.
if we look at the most important thing for me is not receptions because receptions can kind of mask things. It's more targets, right? So if we
Mhm,
look at the targets, Malik Neighbors had 12 out of the 33 available targets
mhm.
this week. You know what I'm saying? Wandell Robinson was 8, so he had 7 receptions, eight targets. That's pretty good. But again, it seems like Malik Neighbors is kind of getting the lion's share here, and so yeah.
I mean,
Again,
I think
like I
rightfully
said,
so, though.
no,
Yeah.
that's why I started with. You know what I'm saying? When you have a guy of that caliber, you want to target him more. You know what I'm saying?
I guess the real
So
question that I have is, at what point is Daniel having a good performance? Is what I want to know. I want to know what the benchmark is for a good performance or a great performance.
Well, they talked about this a lot in the Jets game. When he can do more things, like very simply off schedule. which he could not do in this game. He did great, and because the offensive line kept that pocket real clean, and his receivers were getting wide open, wide open in that first half. But in the second half, it completely disappeared. It was a tale of two teams. It was the Giants from the last few weeks in the second half. Not the defense so much, give the defense credit, but the offense of the last couple of weeks, it wasn't a step forward by the time we got to the second half. So I think when you see Daniel Jones do more things off schedule, and yes, I know he can scramble and do some things like that. When you start to see him make really good under pressure throws downfield also, because if you look at the stats, Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors had 8.7 and 9.8 yards per catch, respectively. He's not stretching the field at all. So what happens when defenses really start to key in on saying, you know what, let this team run. We're just going to completely stop the pass and make sure that they can't do anything with it or just get turnovers. What happens when they key in on certain players, when defenses realize the talent of a Neighbors? That's where I have to see something different. But it
I
was a
think
good
right
game. Like I
now,
said, I think a B minus is really not that bad if you want to
yeah,
talk about letter grades.
I
It was a
think
good game.
Daniel
It wasn't
Jones.
great.
I think Daniel Jones right now he's on his path to recovery. You know what I'm saying? This
Yes.
was a good game for him. We're not,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
again, don't take this as us trashing DJ,
I
because it's not. You
I
know what I'm
know.
saying? This was a good game for him. This is a good step from the last two games that he had, where it was a very very bad thing. And you had mentioned this in our past episodes. Could this be rust for DJ? Could this be him shaking off the injury that he had? He's coming back from a major injury, and it takes time for him to. And listen, this is a good step for him. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have a test next week on
Yeah.
Thursday, when the Cowboys come into town. We're going to see even more of where Daniel Jones is
Again,
progressing this
I mean,
season. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
do want to kind of get into. I don't want to neglect the defense and the special teams, because I really do want to kind of get to them. And we're already kind of cutting
sure.
close to our kind of first half
Time.
of the Giants talk and whatnot. I think, again, like, what I'm looking for, just to end the point on the offense, what I'm looking for is exactly what is it, you know, like, what's the benchmark? Like, it's if it's just the eye test, that's the thing. If it's just the eye test, I feel like Daniel Jones is never going to pass the eye test. But if we're looking at
No.
performance,
Mm-mm.
The way I look at it
I
is
disagree.
this way, and I told you this earlier today. This was a good chance for the Giants to win a game, because Cleveland is very dysfunctional. You know what I'm saying? Their offense is a complete mess. Their defense
Watson
is
is
supposed to
awful.
be better. It's supposed to be better than it showed today.
yeah,
And for
They
one
have some
half,
injuries too,
it
though,
did
right?
show it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I guess what we're trying to say is that, it's great for DJ to beat up on the bad teams, which again, as a good team, you're supposed to do. Let's see him do it against when there's a bump up in competition. You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
well,
And then
well,
and
Like
then when you
really beat up
see
on them.
that, then that's when you're going to start seeing what DJ you're getting. You know what I mean?
all right, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, like I said, I,
I
I
want
was
to see
I
him
was
be a
looking
wizard against these kinds
for.
of teams, but the Cowboys are going to be a good test. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, like I said, I was looking for, like I said, like a specific benchmark, because the point that I was trying to make is that the last two games, him and Aaron Rodgers have almost the exact same stats, but nobody's looking at Aaron Rodgers the way they're looking at DJ. So I want to know what the number is. But regardless,
You're talking about the eye test, though.
I
That's
want
the
to.
thing.
That's what I'm saying. If it's just the eye
It
test,
is
he's
the eye
never gonna.
test.
But that's what I'm saying. He's never going to pass the eye test because of the amount of hate that there's out there for DJ. So
Not to me. He'll pass the eye
to
test
the,
to me if he passes the eye test.
I want
I'm
to get
not
off
talking
of
about
DJ.
what the pundits are talking about, you
All
know?
right, let's get off of DJ. Let's get off of DJ again, because, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
DJ is too
I was talking.
polarizing for
I'm
this
not talking about
cast.
Jose, because if it was only Jose's opinion, I'm talking about the NFL football fans world. Like, at what point does DJ get the respect at any point? Because in the football world, all the fans, he's never going to pass the eye test. But
We're
anyway,
gonna win the Super Bowl for that.
I even if they win the Super Bowl, I doubt it, because what I was trying to say is
Be
that it
like
seems
Eli.
like like
Won two
everyone
Super
else in the
Bowls.
game gets the credit except for DJ. Defense. I thought the defense was amazing today. We got 7 sacks on Deshaun Watson. Yes, Cleveland is super dysfunctional right now. Super dysfunctional on their offense, and I think they were dysfunctional the moment they you know traded for Deshaun Watson. I think that was one of the stupidest decisions. Not the stupidest decision at the time, but the contract that they gave him was.
Yeah,
And I think it's kind of rearing its ugly head. So the defense, I give it like an A plus. Except that in the second half they did kind of start kind of faltering. Um, but special teams, I do not know what's going to happen or how, like what needs to happen. I don't know if there's coaches that need to be fired. I have no idea what they need to do in order to get special teams right. Because, for example, what I saw after that first fumble is Dable tell somebody on special teams like, "Hey, we are not taking it out after every kickoff. You are downing the ball because we're not going to chance a fumble again." And with the kicking and all this, like, how bad? How many times? How many games will special teams cost the Giants this season? I feel like a lot.
Not this one, thankfully, but almost. They almost
yeah,
did
No,
more than once. And good lord, like the other thing actually, like the defense, I want to give them their flowers because I don't want to sound negative. The defense was like a solid A minus for me because of the second half. First half, fantastic. Second half, they again should have put their foot on the pedal. But like not just special teams, like being bad at just holding on to the damn ball, which just really seems to be difficult for whoever is out there. Although it does seem to be difficult for the running backs in general to a certain extent. But um, the discipline on the line on offense and defense is abysmal. I don't know how many holding penalties, how many neutral zone infractions, how many offsides killed a lot of momentum in that game and made it so that I can't give the team like the most fantastic grade because again, they could have put their foot on this team's throats and said, "You know what? The Browns are a good team, but we can beat a good team." Injuries aside, I don't care about the injuries, right? You if you beat a good team, you beat a good team, you know? And that was a little bit rough for me. But special teams is a nightmare, dude, because like they literally almost made you give up on your team's season on the first play of the game.
bro,
That's
bro,
legitimately
bro.
scary.
nightmare territory.
Jesus Christ.
Go ahead, Walt. Talk about it.
I kind of like some of the things that they did on defense. I like the fact that they had what they have 8 sacks this week.
It blitzed a lot.
Brian,
Yeah,
we
that's
had
the
a
thing.
A
Brian
lot.
Burns
Blitz a
signing.
whole lot.
Yeah, we had a Brian Burns signing. He was out there. I
Mhm.
think
Couple of them.
Dexter Lawrence had 2 sacks today, which was great. There was a lot of they had a lot of pressure to the quarterback, so that is a good positive sign. That's something that's necessary for them for that young secondary. One of the things I wasn't crazy about, what is up with putting Dion Banks on an island every time they're down on the goal line? Like it felt like every time they were down on the goal line, the Browns found a way to separate Deontay Banks, and the Giants never gave him any help safety wise. Like they left him there by himself. That was one of the things that I was scratching my head. I'm like, why in the world are they doing this? I know Deontay Banks is a very good cornerback here, but you know what? Help the man. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
So those are the things that kind of weirded me out with the defense. I like the fact that they played better, especially in their running game. I like the fact that their secondary played a little bit better, and I think that is part of you know the the defensive line and the linebackers getting pressure, and I think they started blitzing more in this game, which is going to be a common theme with our New York teams this week. Um, there was a lot of good things that the defense did. The defense clearly played better than the offense today. Special teams, I ain't got nothing for you. Special teams is just a mess. It doesn't help that your kicker is you're the guy that you're used to. Um, depending on is out for what is it 4 to 6 weeks, I think, right?
yeah,
I believe so,
yeah.
yeah.
I think
So
this is
you,
not good.
you, the special teams is going to struggle. The Giants are going to have to find a way to overcome that. But I thought they did pretty well the defense today. Special teams, let's keep moving.
I really want to get on the field and I want to try kicking a field goal. I want to know how I want to see how hard it is to actually miss a field goal, or rather, how hard it is to make a field
It's
goal when
pretty hard.
you're like 20 yards away. Why can't we hit a stupid field goal 20 yards away, man? It's driving me crazy. All
It's not
right,
easy, but
It's
these are
all a matter of
professionals.
just doing it over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
If you
these
don't do
guys
it over
getting
and over
paid to
again,
do it over again,
you know,
piss me off.
yeah, I
Anyway,
know. So
so that's that for the Giants. We got the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. The Cowboys just got. I almost want to say they got reamed, and they kind of did for like 3 quarters. They got reamed, and then they kind of came back. There was two drives, touchdown plays, and then Dak ran one more in. So I'm a little bit worried that they're taking this fourth quarter momentum into Thursday Night Football. But I would wager that was kind of a really hard fought game, and Dallas has to travel over here to New York. They are going to be a little bit beat up. They have to travel over here in order to kind of get themselves ready for this game. I think that they're going to be a little bit sore on Thursday, and if we have a chance to capitalize on anything, it would be that. As far as capitalizing on, as far as the how tough the Cowboys are going to be, I don't know. They've been feeling very wishy washy this week, this season and stuff. So I almost feel like it feels quarter by quarter. You don't know which Cowboy team is going to show up. So I'm hoping that the Cowboy team that shows up on Thursday is not the fourth quarter Cowboys team of today. So anyway, that's the Giants recap. Time for you guys to talk about the Jets. Walt, you had an awesome opportunity to go, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, to go to the Jets game. I'm not gonna lie, man, I was jealous. I was super jealous when you sent that video of of you at the stadium nighttime with the stadium all lit up and everything. I wish I was there. I see the video right there. Yeah, like I wish and this is your perspective, yes? That
yes,
is
it is.
your
Yes,
thing.
it
Like,
is.
it's not anybody
So
else's
this
video. It's
was
your video. Man, this looks amazing. Like, all that green, the crowd and everything for a Patriots game. A game that was, you know what? This game is like, it wasn't really a get right game for you guys. You don't need a get right game yet, I think, obviously. But this was kind of like a get right game for the fans. The fans needed you guys to trounce the Patriots. The fans needed to see the Jets come out there and put everything together. The fans needed to see Aaron Rodgers run out into the field and play more than 4 snaps. Um, how do you feel? How was your experience? Walk us through everything. You know, tell me everything.
so we got there a little bit early, and I've been to Jet night games before. Um, I gotta say this was probably the loudest and most exciting 24-3 primetime game that I think I've ever been to. And it was electric from the very beginning. Like we got there maybe about an hour or two early. Was able to we were able to walk around the grounds before we actually got to our seats. So I was able to see the Jets pregame guys. Got Marty Lyons autograph. We then walked over to the Thursday night primetime booth. Was able to take a picture with Fitzpatrick over there. Got a lot of pictures with
Yeah,
the crew and
It's
stuff like that.
magic.
You know what I'm saying? And he was awesome. I got to tell you, he was just awesome. He was there for the
he
fans.
looks awesome. He
He,
sounds
He
awesome.
seems
oh,
awesome. Yeah.
he was great. He was great. So there was a lot of excitement just outside of the stadium, and then once you got into the stadium, dude, it was completely off the hook. Like that first quarter, I'm still suffering from my throat because of all the yelling that we did over there and stuff like that. It was an amazing game, and an amazing experience to be there. Aaron Rodgers, he came as advertised and stuff like that, and just it was a great
He
experience
did.
being
He
there.
that
You know what I'm
that for
saying?
that he did for sure. That he
Yeah,
did
In
for
and
many
sure.
in
ways.
terms of the game, it was just one of these things where it's like, these guys were what they needed to do. You know, this was a game that they had circled is the Patriots, and they just did what they had to do. I mean, the offense played great, the defense played great, and I think this is kind of the promise of what the Jets could be going forward. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? This is not. There's still things that they have to work on. There's still things that needs to be done, but as Jet fans, we can be excited because now we look at this and we're saying, man, this could get better, better than what we just saw. Sign me up. I'm ready for this. So, you know.
So the Jets take the game 24-3 in a honestly a made for TV game. If you think about like the schedulers, they're like, what game could we give the Jets fans as their home opener? It's not just that they give you the Patriots. They know that the Patriots are bad. They know that they're in a rebuild. They are spoon feeding you guys a Patriots team that's there for the picking. Jose, did you at what point in the game did you feel like this game is over? For me, it was on the second drive of the second Patriot drive. I texted you guys, pack it up. It's over. I've seen enough. You guys are gonna kill me. At what point did you feel confident that that's it? This is over. The Jets are here, and the Jets are here to stay. You guys are a powerful force to be reckoned with for the season.
Uh, hmm. Honestly, it was really early on. It was before the
Hey,
lead started to build.
yeah,
I'm gonna tell you why. This is the difference. I don't want to harp on what's going on with the Giants, but when I saw Aaron Rodgers scrambling out of the pocket,
Oh, that was
moving,
scary.
moving, I mean, it was scary. But
It was scary though.
when I saw it begin to become successful, okay, when I saw him like, and by the way, the statistic is in the first two games he dropped out of the pocket. He escaped the pocket twice. In this game, I think he escaped the pocket somewhere about 5 or 7 times. Okay, so he was moving out of the pocket to make plays, and I think if you really like, it was kind of later on. If you really want to give it a specific point, but when he threw that ball to Brees Hall, that supposedly Brees told him like just get it up in the air to me, similar to Malik Neighbors, right? Just get that shit up in the air and I want to catch it. When like the absolute bliss of seeing a quarterback not only make a throw like that, but having a running back that can make a catch like that is is something that is really hard to explain in terms of joy. And there was this statistic that I saw and I shared in the chat the other day that kind of gives that some sort of like numerical sentience in a way, or like gives it something to look at. This was the first time in a Jets game since 2008 where every every drive had at least one first down. That's what, 16 years? 16 years we have not had an offense that could even put together one single game where we had a first down in every single drive. Just a first down. And you know what? I'll give one more statistic that I heard, and then I'll pass it off. Um, Last year, the Jets. It took the Jets until week 11 to have 9 offensive touchdowns. We have it in 3 weeks this year. Something's different. Something felt different very early in that
I
game.
can
And
tell
when
you it
when you
felt
saw that
different.
the Patriots couldn't do anything offensively too, the defense was actually shutting everything down, including the running game. It felt over pretty early.
Yeah, I like I said, for me, I saw in combination of seeing the Jets two offensive drives back to back, right? Like, one offensive drive that looks good, I could still be a fluke. You see two of them that look as great as they did and finishing with a touchdown. Okay, they got an offense. And then when you see two Patriots drives that get completely demolished by the Jets defense back to back, that's enough. That's enough to say like, okay, we're doing everything we want as an offense. They're doing everything that they can't, or basically they're not able to do anything that they want on their side. It's just 2-2, be plus and four, bro. Like this is just, early on. And I was kind of sad about it because I was in for like an exciting game. And for me, I was kind of sad because like, a few minutes into the first quarter, I already knew that I was going to be bored with the game, considering that I already knew that the Jets won. So, did you guys feel bored at any point? There's one point that I did not feel bored. Okay,
Dude,
did
I
you
was
guys
never
get
bored.
bored? Oh well, you were there. You don't
Yeah,
count, man.
exactly.
You don't count. You don't count. But
Happy.
any point in the game that you kind of got bored, or you were like Jose, were you like fully engrossed? Jet fan. I'm in it to the end, no matter how boring it might be.
I can't say that I was bored because to see a competent offense operate, to see Alan
We
Lazard
never see
be
that. We never
Yeah,
see
you
that.
don't see that.
You know?
a elite receiver in this game, to see Conklin go wild, like to see the two-headed like attack that is Brees Hall and Braylon Allen, like
Yeah.
to see the offense humming and to see the defense make the Patriots look like you would a low difficulty team in Madden was
I mean,
like, yeah, it was boring, but it was also like, fuck, this is
as a
awesome.
as a,
You
as a
know?
Jet fan.
You
Now,
know?
there's something that nobody has ever seen that happened in this Jets game, and that's a team in the Super Bowl era to rack 400 total yards, have control and possession of the game for 40 minutes more, commit zero turnovers, and allow no touchdowns, and collect 7 or more sacks in a game. No
Dude,
team has ever done that, and you guys just did that. You guys had a historic game. Aaron Rodgers had a historic
dude,
official first game.
The
there were
Jets
so many
had
stats
a
that came out of this
historic
game. You know?
game.
Yeah,
There
The
were so
Jets.
many stats. You know?
That's different.
we we
Like
have yeah
no, I'm sorry.
no yeah, yeah.
So, just talking on stats, right? And I had put this in the chat here. Best margin of victory for the Jets since 2009. 14 sacks through 3 games, the most since 1963. You know, the 7 sacks that they had last night, the most in 10 years. You know, they're 2-1 for the first time since 2015. You know, there is so many things that came out of this game, and it's because of the fact that we've never seen it as a Jet fan before. You know what I'm saying?
And they took away our best weapon, and he still did all that. Like when
So
everybody went
Jets,
insane.
Jets, Jets flying to cloud 9 right now.
so let me just
Almost as good
talk.
as it can get.
Yeah, let me
Almost.
just talk on the Garrett thing, because I don't know if you've seen Dan Orlovsky's great take on how
I did not.
the Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are kind of managing that and stuff like that. The thing about the Jets right now is that they're a team that has many different ways of beating you. A lot of the times in during that game, they went heavy. They went 12 personnel, where they had one running back, two tight ends, and things of that nature. They had Ruckert playing as a tight end at some point. You have a team right now in the Jets that Aaron Rodgers can dink and dunk you, and he can beat you that way.
Death.
Aaron Rodgers can now throw the ball deep and beat you that way. You've got a guy in Brees Hall who can outrun you. You know what I'm saying? With the quickness that he has, you've got a guy in Braylon Aaron that can just hit the truck stick and run over people and stuff like that. You've got Garrett Wilson, who's shifty, who's able to get into different things because of the way that he uses his feet and stuff. You've got Mike Williams. All you got to do is throw the ball up to him. There are
Good ball,
so
Mike.
many different ways, and you got Tyler Conklin. You got all these guys. There are so many different ways that the Jets can beat you, and they still are not hitting on all facets in terms
Well,
of the offense right now.
I hate to be that guy, but we do have to pump the do it against a really good team
No,
brakes.
no, no, and I agree with you,
So
and that's why I'm
so
saying
it's great to see all these stats. The stats are amazing.
absolutely.
All those records that you guys broke and set up, and the whole 9 are amazing. I'm rooting for you guys. Like I said, I was jealous that I wasn't there, and I was having fun watching the game. And I'm not even a Jets fan. Okay,
But that's why I
but I
said
am a fan of the show, which is why I'm watching.
right. But
For
that's why I
anybody
said
that
at
wants
the
to
very
like,
beginning. That's why I said at the very beginning, the Jets just showed you the promise of what they could be. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's true.
The Patriots defense is a pretty good defense, but they weren't up to task that night. Now we've got to see the Jets do this and continue to build and do this against the better teams that are coming up. You know what I'm saying?
So
The next couple of weeks they have what they've got the Broncos, I believe, next week. the first real test, which was a test that we didn't think was going to be a test,
The
is
Vikings.
in London with the Vikings, which the Vikings are
We're gonna
now
talk about. I want to talk about the
inexplicably
Vikings in a little bit.
3-0.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I'm saying?
crazy. Sam Darnold on his revenge tour. Sam Darnold
Oh
is
my gosh, you know what I'm saying?
is doing exactly what I feared he was gonna do. And if anything, the consolation prize for me as a Giants fan is that okay, if Sam Darnold's doing this to everyone else, then at least it wasn't just a fluke or whatever. It wasn't just that like, oh, Sam Darnold destroyed the Giants, of course, because it's the Giants. It's Sam Darnold's got some talent and he's finally able to show it. He's doing his thing. 4
He
touchdowns
always
today. I
did.
don't even know how the F he could do that. I
He
need to
always
see
had
that
that
game.
talent.
He always did. I believed in him. I've always believed in him. I actually, I said when you guys got rid of him, I was like, I'll take him as a backup. I want him on the Giants.
I
I like him.
never
Uh,
wanted him to go. That was a
uh,
stupid decision.
like I said, for me, Sam Darnold is just another version of Daniel Jones. But that's another story. The real story is how much how long of a conversation or at what point in the game did Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers get together so that they can come up with their plan and excuse for the media after that chest
Oh,
bump?
come on.
Two-score
What
lead.
do you mean? Oh, come on.
No, come on.
You really think? Oh, come on.
Listen. How many? I don't know. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I know from playing and stuff like that. There have been times where you go to another player and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be a happy thing, but you go to him and you just like, you know what I'm saying,
I'm
and
with you.
stuff like that.
Keep it moving.
That stuff happens. It's a
2-score lead.
competitive sport. He probably went
I'm
over
with you.
and Salah was probably harping on him. Get me a 2 touchdown lead. Get me a 2-score lead. And he went over there and he was like, gives you a two touchdown lead. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
So
with you.
2-score lead. That's
I'm
exactly what he said.
2-score lead, whatever it
I'm with
is.
you. Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you. And honestly, 99% of me wants to just, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I'm gonna go ahead and say, you know what, I believe what they said. However, the one thing that I question is, even if you do that to your homie, your boy, you chest pump and the whole nine and whatnot, I don't know about this when you do a slow mo where you see this kind of look.
I
Dude,
mean,
you do it.
That's what I do.
I
That's
think
what I
I've
do.
done it. I've done it plenty of times,
Yo,
bro.
I don't
I've
know,
done
bro.
it
here's
That
my
is
plenty of
take.
times.
to me, that is it's either a really, really intense Aaron Rodgers look, you know,
We know how
or
intense
that's
he can be.
because how often do we see that look of like I could easily be like, yo, don't touch me.
Yo,
That's
but listen. Kelsey
it's
did.
adorable.
Jimmy
Kelsey,
Fox,
in my mind,
get your
Kelsey
hands
did
off me.
it. But listen, Kelsey, in my mind, did it worse to Andy Reid.
That was a little bit
Uh,
different situation though. That was a different situation, I would say. You know what I
But
mean?
he still disrespected
It
his
was
coach.
disrespectful,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
but I think that you could disrespect
And I
someone
think,
in two different ways. The
but
difference
that
is,
happens in the course of a game,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, I know,
You
but
know what I'm saying?
the difference is that if, and again, I'm just kind of joking here because I honestly believe the story that they came up with. But the difference is that like when Kelsey did it to Reed, the problem with that, it was disrespectful and whatnot, but it's not like he was emasculating Reed. Here, this looks like Aaron Rodgers is like he's giving him the too small, basically. After we know, or rather, not that we know, but we have had that question since Aaron Rodgers walked into the building for the first time. Who's the one that's really in charge? So that's kind of it's behind that
Yeah,
backdrop.
but Aaron
we
Rodgers
don't
is
disagree.
always
I don't disagree with that.
praising Robert Sala. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing that has come out in there where it says, oh well, you know what, Robert Sala and
So,
Aaron Rodgers, they're
so
not
look.
on the same
All
page.
right, I got one more question for Jose.
Well, hold on. Let me get my opinion on
I
this
know it was
thing
gonna
before
be
we
on
go to
this.
the
It
next
was gonna be on this
question.
real quick. It's gonna be on this. I have one quick
Hmm.
question. I want to have your opinion on this, but I also want to know what do you think is the Jets' PR budget for their department, their PR department?
Look, I don't think it matters. Aaron Rodgers is a
Man,
dick. We know this. Aaron Rodgers is a dick. We already know this. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
is
yeah.
true.
if the team starts losing, he is going to throw Robert Saleh in the bus probably because he's not a coach's player. He's a player's player. He loves the players. He loves the players. You can tell he loves the team. He doesn't give a shit about Saleh. he doesn't give a shit about Salah. But if
Yeah,
they win,
Hackett.
I don't care. You know what I mean? Like he's a capable enough quarterback to carry this team offensively. As long as Salah gets the defense going, that's it. You got a team here. And the way that I see it also, like, yeah, it probably was disrespectful, but it's also the way that I think Boomer Esiason put it. It was two awkward dudes being awkward on the field
Yeah.
in their interaction. They're just
To be
fucking
honest,
awkward.
yeah.
They're weird. And Aaron Rodgers is a dick. So like that's
Yeah.
how you got that
Yeah,
interaction.
yeah, yeah. Look,
And was it great? No. If they start losing, it's a sign of like the shit sinking. But if they keep winning, who cares?
maybe. I mean, again, like I honestly, I'm just kind of having fun with the segment. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk about it because it really was like when I saw it, I was
Yeah,
It
like,
you
was
do
just
have to
now
weird.
again, before the explanation, and I'm not a lip reader. Like, let's admit, without reading lips, without like the explanation and whatnot, we all thought that it looked bad. Did it not?
for a moment. Yeah. I mean, when I
Oh,
saw it,
I didn't
I
before we
saw it out of
see. I didn't
context
see it
also.
live,
okay,
Yeah.
even though I was there. I didn't see it that way because we're all the way up in the 200 section, right? So I didn't see it until afterwards. So I guess I have the benefit of hearing the
yeah,
explanation first and then watching it. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah. And
Um,
Salah's what?
yeah,
He's 5 years older than Rodgers. They're like they're
I don't know.
peers. You know,
Jesus
they're
But I
not
Christ,
wanted,
that's
even
you know
like
what I
crazy.
wanted? You want to know what I wanted the lip reading investigation to come out with? I wanted it to be like, go do your CrossFit runs, run up. Anyway, no, like I said, I just wanted to kind of have fun with that segment, but I do want to move on to the
Defense,
3 weeks and stuff. Yeah, but
defense.
I mean, honestly, like you guys play as close to a perfect game as possible. I don't know.
defensively, especially.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know where there's anything really to criticize. But if there is anything to criticize, do you guys have anything that you guys would criticize? I didn't see anything that was there to criticize. You know what I mean? Because I think
It's
that
almost
like after that
impossible.
half, it was like, all right, how quick can we end this game? You know what I mean? Especially if you look at Gerard Mayo's face, he looked like a Wii character or like a Lego character with his block head, just like all like
I like
pissed
Drake
off.
May's face. Like Drake May's face when they brought him in to get annihilated by us for a few snaps. I saw a
Drake
meme
May didn't look
of
that bad though, actually.
I know, but I mean, he still was running for his life. He got sacked twice in like eight
Yeah,
That
snaps.
was
So
garbage
it's
time.
yeah, but he was
he
able
looked
to drive
okay.
the ball down
He looked
better.
like he looked like he had poise in getting annihilated by the Jets defense. I saw a meme where you probably saw it also where it's Gerard Mayo throwing Drake May behind the Patriots offensive line, and it's some dude tossing his infant, like flinging his infant into a pool. Um, Defensively, that was about as good a game as you're going to get. Like that was almost a perfect defensive game because this was a bad offense, and we made them look almost as bad as you can make offenses look. You
Yeah,
know, like so, like that. There's really nothing bad to say about the defense in this game. There's little nitpicks they can make offensively, little nitpicks for sure. Um, but it still was almost a perfect game offensively too, for the most part. And that's not the ceiling. I think that's the thing that really feels special right now. That doesn't seem like it's Aaron Rodgers' ceiling. And the floor is so much higher with Aaron Rodgers than it's ever been with just about any quarterback. So even if he does badly, you're not going to get like probably four interceptions and two
Right,
turnovers or
right,
something
right.
that you got out of somebody else.
right.
Um, so it's difficult to nitpick. Special teams was good. Gibson is turning into a star back there. Um, it's I mean, I brought this up. I'll bring this up now. I think because I don't know if you wanna jump off and make some comments on the defense as well. But I want to bring this up because after the game was over, I said this to Walt before the podcast. This is the first time in my memory that I've watched a Jets game, finished a Jets game, and it felt like when you're trying to binge watch a TV show and you got to like go to bed, like you got to get ready for work, and you have to shut it down. It's like I want to see what's next now, and
Yeah,
it's
and
been
you
an
probably wanted to see another
incredibly
game
long
right
time.
after.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would have loved to see him beat the hell out of the Broncos in the game right after that, but they want to rest, and I get it. Um, but like it's been a very long time since I felt like that as a Jets fan. Well,
Yeah, so I kind of agree with Jose there. And I've been watching Jets football since 1985. You know what I'm saying? So I've gone through the gamut and stuff. And quite honestly, the best quarterback play that I've seen maybe Chad Pennington, um, maybe Vinny Testaverde.
or
We've
Big Billy.
never had this high level of quarterbacking and just the fluidness and the knowledge that you see Aaron Rodgers has when he's commanding that line of scrimmage, right? So it's a refreshing thing to take, and you know having an offense like this again, it's the promise of what this Jets team could be because we've always said if we had an offense that could just take care of business on that side, imagine what this defense could look like when they can pin their ears back and just get after the quarterback.
Right.
And that Thursday night was kind of like what that promise would have been because the Jets did things that we've seen them do before, but it was different because you got guys flying around all over the place, getting after the quarterback and stuff like that. Will McDonald, he had another 2 sacks. At that point, he was leading the league in sacks. I'm pretty sure he's dropped down since then because of the Sunday slate of games. But there is something different. I will say this though, and it pains me to say this because as you guys well know, CJ Mosley is one of my favorite Jet players. But quite honestly, this defense feels different with Mosley out of there because Sherwood, who took over his spot, who slid over into the middle linebacker position, he's faster than Mosley. He's quicker than Mosley. He's more physical than Mosley. And Mosley is a great player, and he's got a wealth of experience and knowledge that Jamie Sherwood doesn't have. But the fact of the matter is that this defense looks more active and alive with Sherwood there and Mosley not. And it really pains me to say that because Mosley, like I said, he's my favorite player. He's been our captain for how many years? He's been kind of like, the rock that, holds that defense together. His voice in that locker room is so huge. But there is definitely a decline in Mosley's play lately. And you're seeing it in real time with this defense. This defense is a different defense since Sherwood took over that spot. Um, so
Well,
sucks. But
so there's you guys again. There is like one more thing that I did kind of want to talk about, but we were kind of running out of time. You could say it's the whole like if there's anything that I would kind of nitpick or criticize or be critical is still kind of that connection between Garrett Wilson and Aaron
right,
Rodgers. But there might be some inherent bias because I have Garrett Wilson on my fantasy league, and I'm very upset that he hasn't scored anything for my fantasy team or anything meaningful. But I would like to see that kind of happening sooner than later.
Yeah,
I know that it is kind of like on Aaron Rodgers' mind. He said so at the end of the game that like as soon as they work out the kinks of whatever it is that they're kind of going through as far as linking up, that it's going to be a magical thing. That's really the only takeaway from the game that I have that they need to kind of work
mhm,
on because everything else was so good. But moving
yeah.
forward now, you guys have the Broncos next week, which I think is honestly a gimme. I don't see, and I'm
Bo
not
Nix
trying
ain't
to like
beating this.
look too far forward, right? What happened?
Bo Nix ain't beating this team.
Yeah,
It ain't happening.
they're again, I think that you guys are too far apart, barring anything crazy that happens. So it's almost like we don't even need to talk about them. But honestly, we do have
We're
to
off next week.
at least 30 seconds, on Sam Darnold and the Vikings. Like I said, before, it's unbelievable that he's having the season that he is having, in a situation that obviously he didn't expect. He didn't expect to be the starter of any team, I think, for the rest of his career, let alone this season, and he is making the best of his situation. How afraid are you guys of the Vikings? And
I'm
again,
still not afraid of them.
Quick 30 seconds.
I'm still not too afraid of the Vikings. Very quickly, like the Vikings own Shanahan. They apparently Flores has beaten him in college and the NFL like 8 or 9 straight times. So whatever Flores does, he beats the hell out of the 49ers. Their defense is really good. The Vikings defense is really good. We have a Hall of Fame quarterback. And as good as Sam Darnold is, I think, Justin Jefferson is gonna be tough to stop, but I don't see the rest of the offense really getting going quite well enough to beat this team. Maybe Sam Darnold will surprise me, but I mean, I still don't see it. I think they are overachieving a little bit with a really good defense.
Okay. I think that the Texans defense is quite good. And
They
they
had some
scored
they had some big injuries today on defense, some key defensive
still,
injuries.
still scored 34 points on that defense. And so far, I think it's 85 points if you total it all up. In 3 games, Sam Darnold has led the Vikings to 85 points, and it's almost all touchdown passes. Walt, 30 seconds, thoughts on the Vikings, Sam Darnold's. Are you afraid of them? Are you not? Are you in line with Jose? Uh, I would be a little bit worried.
Um, I'm not worried in terms of Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold he's probably going to come down to earth with the Jets because the Jets one of their strengths is their pass defense. You know what I'm saying? And now that the rush is clicking, hello Hassan Reddick, we don't need you. Um, so now that that rush is clicking, right? That defense's secondary, which is good on its own, is only going to get better. The thing that worries about me is Aaron Jones, their running back, because that has always been traditionally a weakness of the Jets. I don't worry about the passing game. I worry about the running game. So,
Really? Okay.
they
I
would
mean,
have
Sauce
to.
Gardner is Sauce Gardner.
What was that?
Sauce Gardner is Sauce Gardner. So yeah, I guess I wouldn't be that concerned, but it's going to be a hell of a matchup. Justin Jefferson against Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, but you know what? They've done it before, and Sauce shut them down. So
All
everybody
right.
that Sauce everybody that Sauce matches up against, they shut them down. And if you go to the other side, you got to deal with DJ Reed and Michael Carter the third. So
All right.
there's not that much of a dip there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not too worried about it. That should be a win.
I
It's
feel
probably gonna be
bad.
a tough win, but it'll be a
Yeah.
win
Okay.
nonetheless.
I feel bad for Bo Nix and the Broncos. I actually like Bo Nix. Last year, I kind of really got into watching some of his games.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Honestly, next week is almost like a bye week. To be honest with you, I hope that next week Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to play the entire game. I hope that you guys get to a comfortable position where he can take a seat so that you guys can minimize the chances of anything bad happening and taking you guys out of this season that you guys are putting together. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. Guys, thank you guys for following. Thank you guys for watching and staying all the way to the end. This quick little message is going to go out to Tyler. You know, Tyler, I'm going to whoop your ass. Watch. Anyways, until next time, this is the Jets Giants show. Go Giants.
Man.
And
Go
go Jets!
Jets!
Let's go, baby. Victory Monday. Victory Monday.
There you go.
Awesome.
Later, people.
Peace out, guys.